My name is Danny Fenton and I'm an aeromodeller and an engineer. Join me on a fascinating journey where I show you some of the techniques used in scale aeromodelling. Hello again modelers, and welcome back to the channel. Just a short video at this time to show you how I've taken some 1/4 by 1/8 rectangular brass section and milled a slot in it for the canopy runners. Now on this Chipmunk we need 2 runners, one on either side of the cockpit and one running down the spine. The ones on the either side of the cockpit need to be about 1.5 foot, 1.33 feet. So what I've got is 4 of these sections. They're 1 foot long and I need 4 of them. I think I'll need 1.5 or just over 1 or just under 1.5 per side, and then 1 for the rear bit, so we'll probably have just a little tiny bit left over. But what I'm going to show you is how I can mill that slot down the middle of the section. Now in my case I'm going to use the milling machine, and I'm very lucky to have one, which does make life a lot easier, and I'll show you how I've done it with that. But what I'm also going to show you is some photographs of how I did it before I got the mill, because there is another way you can do it, and it's quite a simple way of doing it, and you can do it with just a simple Dremel and a few bits of jigs and things like that you make. And you know how much I like jigs. So I'll show you how I did it previously, and that was on the first Chipmunk I did a long time ago now. And I'll show you how I did it on that using just the Dremel. Alright, let's get started. Okay, I've spent some time trying to get this rotating table absolutely true and straight, so that the middle point of this brass bar is going to mill the middle point, and as it's fed through it stays the middle point, and that's as straight as I can get it. And I'm hoping that all I'll have to do is just slide the work in the jaws and we'll win. Anyway, that's the plan. So here we go. We're going to mill this bit of, it's actually 1/4 inch by 1/8 box section brass, and I'm going to mill a slot right down the middle of it, and the slot needs to be 3.1 millimeters. I'm going to make it 3 millimeters. That's close enough for me. And this is for the canopy rails, and I've got 4 bars 1 foot long. Sorry to mix metric and imperial. So 4 bars 1 foot long, and I need to mill them all. So this is the first one, and if it goes okay then I'll mill all 4. If it doesn't, then this one could end up scrap, but we'll see if we can keep it looking like it's the center. So the big problem is going to be when I move the rail back to cut the next section. So this bit will be fine, but then when I slide this bar into the jaws of the vise again, it's whether this end point will match the start point on the next row, because if it deviates then I know I've not got it right. So I think what I'll do is I'll run through it with just a score line. So I won't cut right through. I'll just do a scoring type pass. I think that's probably going to be the best thing to do. Anyway, here we goes. Well, as you can see, this end is slightly higher than that end, so what was a scoring pass ended up cutting right the way through when it got to about this point here onwards. So I thought, well, I may as well penetrate all the way through, so I lowered the chuck and I cut right through and then ran backwards, so then now we have a full slot all the way down, and it looks pretty centered to me. So what I'm going to do is going to slacken the chuck, slide the metal right up to the end there to cut a fresh bit, and hopefully the bit will be right in the center of where it ended, if you get my drift. So I'm not going to move any of the settings other than move the metal along. And with any luck, the slot will remain the same. And it hasn't quite, but it's very close. So I might just rotate this just a fraction. I'm going to regret this, I know I am. Can that lock off? And there we are. Let's hopefully keep going and hit the same point down here, and we'll try again. And the channel is nicely centered all the way through. Needs a bit of cleaning up. There's no steps or sections in it where it might cause the canopy to jam slightly. There's a very slight ridge there, but it's really minor, and just running a needle file through there up and down a couple of times will level all of that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get the other three sections, the other three 1 foot sections, run them all through the mill, and that should be all of our bearing sections for the canopy to run on the sliders. What you can see here is a metal plate has been added to the Dremel, which allows me to clamp it to the side of a scrap piece of worktop. The two plywood plates are adjustable and ensure that the gap in the middle is exactly right to hold a 6mm square section of aluminium tube. The Dremel is spun up and the tube is fed in such that it is being pushed away from the blade. This cuts a line right down the middle of the tube. Just to make sure that it's perfect, turn the tube through 180 degrees and feed it through again, just to ensure that the slot is central. Well, that was just a short video to show you how you can use the mill to make slots in brass or aluminium rectangular tubing. I've shown you how to do it on the mill, and you've seen the video of that. I've also shown you some pictures of how I did it on an earlier Chipmunk in 6mm square aluminium tube using a Dremel or a small handheld drill type thing. There's a very important safety measure with that. When you're feeding the aluminium in, you must make sure that you're pushing against the direction of the blade. This is to ensure that the aluminium isn't snatched from your hands and fired across the workshop and ends up impaled on the other side of the room. Please take note of that. Alright then, well, if you've enjoyed the video, it's only a short one, but if you've enjoyed it, please click like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Hopefully we'll be looking at getting some primer on this. See you soon.